Hello everybody, Aaron the Nintendo here. Welcome back to the channel, and to all of my Spanish-speaking listeners out there, me gustaría los pantalones del queso en la mañana, por favor. That's right, I would like the pants of cheese in the morning, thank you. Alright, we are on Fiesta de los Muertos, which is an entire world in the game based on Mexican culture, and it's really cool. It's this world's got a lot of cool ideas. I don't love a couple of these levels. I'm not a big fan of this one, What the Duck, which with that name I kind of I'm surprised that the ESRB would let you put that in an E10 rated game. That feels like that would give it a T, you know, a pun that's almost the F word, which is like the worst swear. So I don't know, but somehow they got by with that. But what I tell you, Rayman, it can be a little raunchy. But yeah, I love the vibes of this world. It's very the thing I don't like about it though. So we get transformed into a duck on this level, and I don't love the duck controls. It's basically the way Rayman's controlled the whole game, except he's a lot slower, basically. It doesn't really change the moveset. It's just, it's Rayman, but it just kind of sucks now. But visually, this world's really cool. I don't love this gameplay mechanics. Very weird. This, whatever this is supposed to be, sand. I guess he's eating. I don't know if it's supposed to be like cake or a soft tortilla. I don't know what this stuff is, but Murphy can, back on the Wii U version of the game, you'd use the stylus pen and you could just erase it, but here he just kind of moves around frantically in a pattern, and then you kind of have to time it a little bit to get him to do what you need him to do, since we're not controlling the AI Rayman in this game, thank goodness. Let's restart the sequence, because I didn't want to drop that. Let's do that again. Sorry, just do it again. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try not to get too deep philosophical on this episode about my personal views on things. Last episode I got a little deep, had some serious talk, but this is Rayman, dang it. This is one of the most unserious game franchises out there. It's a great series, but it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I died. And we shouldn't take this channel too seriously either, lest we implode in upon ourselves like Rayman just did there. So let's do that again. But yeah, this whole world's themed around Mexican culture, and I feel like they do a really good job at it, which is pretty surprising. I mean, I'm not Hispanic, so if you're watching this video and if you're Latino or Latina, let me know what you think about this. But this is just the first level. This one I wouldn't say is like the best, but as we go on, they do some like really cool stuff. They got, I like the little skeleton enemy guys. They look pretty cute, like some kind of I remember in Spanish class in high school, we made like sugar skulls for like Dia de los Muertos, so that was kind of neat. But yeah, 'cause the Spanish culture is very influenced by death, I guess you could say. They embrace it, I guess, or at least try to, instead of fearing it the way that we do elsewhere. I started to say here in the West, but I mean Mexico's in the Western Hemisphere too, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's they've got some pretty good ideas in this world as it goes on. Later on, there's one that just looks gorgeous with just all these like flowers, like hundreds of flowers that just look all meticulously, individually hand painted. Like I love the art style of this game so much. I've gone on and on and on about it. The colors I think are very striking. Look at that pink, purple, bluish gradient background, and then these pink little spike things here that we're trying to avoid. What I need to do here to get rid of this, to get past this spike, do I have to somehow... Oh, oops. Okay, my bad. Alright. There's also a lot of food. Food is featured predominantly on this level, but yeah, it's a see, we got like a little skull with a sombrero on. You can't really see him, he's just a little bit under my line of sight. If I jump there, you can see it. Little skull with a sombrero. I've never seen a sombrero come to a point on the top like that. That's very different. I don't know if that's a real thing, but some kind of dessert in the background. That cake looks good. Okay, let's free these guys. Okay, look at the little skeleton mariachi dude down there. I love it. Let me know what down in the comments below what some of your favorite media is that is Hispanic in origin. Let's show a little love to the Hispanic community. I grew up watching on Nickelodeon. I wouldn't say it was my favorite Nickelodeon show, but it was solid. It was like it was a B+ show, I would say. El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera. That was a good show. Made by, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, I believe I am, Jorge Gutierrez. I follow him on Twitter, and you know, he's a really nice guy. He's you know, liked quite a few of my comments and sometimes responded to him. Pretty down to earth from what I've seen of him. You know, he has political views which are different than mine, but unlike a lot of people in you know, in Hollywood, he's not like super obnoxious about him. You know what I'm saying? Like he just seems like a legit dude. He's I believe he's autistic, and he talks about that on his sort of say on his channel, on his page or whatever, on his Twitter posts, and just you know, how he embraces it, doesn't really see it as a handicap or a disability, which you know, I'm not autistic myself or anything, but I am diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, which can make life hell sometimes. It's a very misunderstood condition, but I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But I've never got to that point, and I don't know if I ever will to fully embrace it as part of my identity. You know, there's a big part of me that wants to distance myself from it, but you know, I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things, just to each his own. I don't know. But yeah, it's great on him that he's able to embrace, you know, the way his mind works and not see it as a challenge or something adverse to him the way that I do. But yeah, Jorge, he's done a lot of other stuff. I really liked El Tigre. I think it's a very underrated Nickelodeon show. Again, it's not my favorite. It's no SpongeBob. You know, it's no Danny Phantom or Fairly Odd Parents or Invader Zim, but it's still a really solid show. The main character, Manny Rivera, aka El Tigre, he was one of the main characters that I and a lot of other people wanted to get into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and he did. Probably the main character I wanted was Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot, and they did put her in, so that was awesome. That was sick. We got both of those in the game. But Jorge, he went on to do bigger and better things. He made the movie The Book of Life, if you've seen that. Came out a year or two before Coco. I remember when Coco, like there started being commercials for that movie. Part of me was thinking, like, did Pixar just rip off The Book of Life? Because they're very similar theme. Like, yeah, they have to do with, like, you know, the Day of the Dead, and like they go to the land of the dead and all that stuff. But yeah, just like even beyond that, there was just a lot of elements that just felt very, very similar to me. But honestly, Coco visually looked a little bit better than The Book of Life. But The Book of Life, I think, has a way better story. People loved Coco, talk about how emotional it was. It made them cry. One of the best Pixar movies ever. I think Coco's maybe a little overrated. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. But The Book of Life, that's a really, really good animated movie. I like the plot. I think is very different. It's kind of almost a Romeo and Juliet sort of thing, except you've got two guys who are both kind of playing the role of Romeo because they both are really in love with this woman. But they're both really good guys though, so it's like, you know, you don't necessarily want them to end up in a polyamorous relationship or anything, but you do kind of want to see both of the guys win, you know. So so you're kind of at odds with yourself, and but it's a really good movie. Probably, I would say, the pinnacle of Jorge's work of his career. Because he also did this show on Netflix. It came out a year or so ago. I was really looking forward to it. Maya and the Three, or Maya y los Tres, I think is the Spanish name of it. And I started it. I watched a little over half of it. I never finished it, though. I remember some of the plot details, not all of it. For whatever reason, that one didn't grab me. Maybe I was just not in the best, like, state of mind. You know, maybe I just have to be in a certain headspace. I don't know. But I wasn't as blown away with it. It wasn't bad or anything like that. It was, for a kid show, you know, there's a lot of, like, character deaths in it and stuff. And, because, again, Mexican culture, obsessed with death. It's not me being stereotypical. That's something Jorge jokes about all the time in his work. Just like, yeah, well, us Mexicans, we're obsessed with death. No, he's a great guy. I like how he leans into stereotypes sometimes. And I think it was in the Book of Life. He depicts Mexico as like he shows it on a globe or something, or on a map, and it just has like a giant like mustache, like, you know, that kind of curls on the end, like you'd see like some guy in a mariachi band or something. So I really like how he you know, just kind of like leans into that, doesn't take it too seriously. He's proud of his culture, but he's not like, you know, he has fun with it. He pokes fun here and there, and I think that's something that's a healthy way of seeing the world that we all should do a little more of sometimes, you know. But we're on butter right now, by the way. Very slippery butter. Whee! We're sliding on the butter. Whee! You butter believe it. Sorry. As you can see, we're not a duck, so that's good. I really didn't enjoy it. I'm glad that can finally go and duck off. But yeah, Jorge, I think he also had some part on Mucha Lucha, if anybody remembers that show. That was a very niche show. I feel like that one's probably less remembered than El Tigre, but I don't know. That one was older. I don't know when it came out, maybe 2003. Maybe it was later than that. Maybe it was more like 2006. I don't know. I know I watched it a little bit as a kid. Had like Raymundo, and then there was like the Flea, and I forget what the girl's name was, but they were all like wrestlers. I think he had some part in the character design on that show. That's one where honestly I watched it a little bit as a kid. Couldn't tell you much of anything about it. I remember they parody like the Psycho shower scene, like with the in one episode, and I think there might have been a movie with something to do with a vampire, and they were had to drive a stake into it, but it was like a steak, like the piece of meat is like, that's the wrong kind of steak. But other than that, I don't really remember very much at all about the show, except it had from what I remember, I don't remember loving it. It might have just been okay, but it had a banger theme song, the Mucha Lucha theme song. Look it up. Pause this video and look up the Mucha Lucha theme song. It goes way harder than it needs to. It's a good theme song. It's also very fluidly animated. Like I think they put like all the budget of that show into the theme song, because that theme song is sick. Anyway, what else is there? I need to be small again. Where's the little trumpet thingy so that I may shrink myself? Rayman's a grower, not a shower, but right now I need to be a little bit shrinkier, not kinkier. So that's what we're gonna do. I think I probably went backwards through that and didn't get the purples, but that's okay. Yeah, more Mexican media. I really enjoyed. I only just played this game like within the past year or so, but Guacamole. That was a really good game based around Spanish culture. And I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan. I've maybe talked about this before on the channel. I'm not a big fan of Metroidvania games that much. I don't know why there's just like floating knives in the background. That's very ominous. Makes me a little uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Metroidvania games, which, you know, is just kind of, if you're not sure what that genre is, it's basically kind of a, you should say, kind of an off branch of 2D platformers. So kind of the idea is, you know, they called it that because, you know, nobody, I guess, really knows which game did it first, because Metroid and Castlevania kind of came out around the same time. But it's a genre used to describe both of those games. So they're basically 2D platformers that are a lot more open-ended, and you have multiple branching paths, and it's kind of very labyrinthine in its level design, very maze-like. Add that word to your vocabulary list, your word of the day calendar, labyrinthine. Is there any secrets down here? No, the secret is death via spiky bones. I should ask Jorge on Twitter sometime if he's ever played this game and has seen this world, because I think he would love it. This is like everything that he cares about. Maybe, who knows, maybe, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a consultant on this game, because this game was made in France. So, like, I feel like, you know, just due to, like, proximity of just geographic location, I would think that the average American person would have a better understanding of Mexican culture. You know, the average United States person would have a better understanding of Mexican culture than the average Frenchman or Frenchwoman. So, you know, they might have consulted somebody. I don't know. Maybe they consulted Jorge. Maybe he did some of the art for this game. I don't know. I doubt it, because I feel like I would have heard him mention that. I would know something about that. But, like, there's a lot of stuff that's stamped with his influence where I'm just like, oh, Jorge did that? Like Mucha Lucha. Like, I didn't know he worked on that. So, ooh, we're missing somebody. Maybe they're inside the watermelon. Hey! I live in Appalachia, so there's a lot of people around here who like country music. There's this one country song I remember from years ago that I don't know if my mom would play it in the car, but it was the cringiest thing. It was like this guy singing, if you drink, don't drive, do the watermelon crawl. I was like, I guess this is supposed to be a PSA on drinking and driving, but like, what do these PSAs have to be like the cringiest thing ever? Do the watermelon crawl? What does that even... I don't know. I might drink and drive head first into traffic if I have to listen to this song anymore, I'll tell you that. Yeah, that's that level. But Guacamelee, so Metroidvanias I was talking about, they're very kind of maze-like, and so like it can get a little tedious because you got a lot of backtracking, you know, a lot of branching paths. You go one way, you reach a dead end, it's like come back here when you have X item or ability, and you just kind of have to... Newer ones are kind of better where you can like put like pins on like a map or something to kind of help you remember where you need to go, but like it's kind of tedious. It's like, wait, where was it? Now that I've got this ability I need to go back to. And I always would get lost in Metroidvania games, and here we are in the land of the living dead. This was a thing from Rayman Origins, the one before this game. I really like the acoustic guitar music in the background, like we're having a Mexican standoff here, like we're in a Western. Might not have gotten to that part yet, I don't know. I can't hear that well with the headset on, but it does that at some point. Guacamelee, you know, I'm starting to embrace Metroidvanias a little bit. They really didn't... I missed some lumps back there. Hopefully we'll still reach the 300 threshold that we need to hit. Yeah, Metroidvanias are a genre that's starting to grow on me. I'm starting to get more accustomed to it. But used to, I would just get so frustrated. Like, I would get really into it, and I would enjoy it for, like, 5 hours. And then after that point, like, I would just get so lost and not know what I'm doing and refuse to look up a guide. But I've gotten more patient about that. The first Metroidvania I ever beat was Metroid Dread, which just came out, like, a few years ago. Up until that point, I never finished any Metroidvania. There's still a lot that I've started but never finished. I've played and beaten pretty much all the 2D Metroids at this point on Switch Online, with the exception, I never beat Super Metroid. I've started a file on that game like probably 5 or more times over the years and got stuck and never finished it. I need to go back to it someday. But I did finish Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, which was really, really great. I love that game a lot. Metroid Dread's phenomenal, by the way. Dread is like top tier. That's easily the best Metroidvania I've played. I never finished Hollow Knight. I liked what I played of it, but I got lost, didn't know where to go. I need to go back and play it because I know people love Hollow Knight. But yeah, Guacamelee is one. I played it. I think it definitely helped that I had beaten Metroid Dread and I'd played some other Metroidvanias and finished them at that point, whereas I would have got frustrated and quit if I hadn't. I like that enemy there, these little chef guys. They remind me of something from the show Chowder. If anybody ever watched Chowder, which was on Cartoon Network from like, I don't know, 2007 to 2010 or 11, that was a great show. I love Chowder. Yeah, let's... so now this level, we got the spread guacamole. So I don't know what that was in the last episode he was eating that we were erasing, but now it's guacamole. So, yeah, we got to close off the flow of the lava here. Again, I don't like these levels where I have to be the duck. They're kind of just not that intuitive. And again, you got the Murphy stuff where you're having to multitask controlling him. Not my favorite element, but, you know, at least these are only for the Rayman Legends levels, which are like, it's still like half the game. But, you know, it's like every other, so it's like, there's maybe like 10 of these levels, because there's like 2 of them in every world for the 5 worlds that are in Rayman Legends. But then once we get to the Rayman Origins levels, all 5 of those worlds, or however many worlds are in that one, we won't have to worry about being Murphy. But the Murphy stuff isn't terrible. I really don't like being this stupid duck. But anyway, Guacamelee, that was a really good game. I haven't played the second one yet, Guacamelee 2. I downloaded it. I bought like a bunch of games on the Switch, like during various like sales over the years, like eShop sales. So I think I got both Guacamelee games for like really, really cheap. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I beat the whole game in like one day. I think because it's kind of on the shorter side. Like I don't remember how many hours long that game is, but yeah, I just kind of just plowed through that game in one day. Really enjoyed it. I didn't go for like 100% or anything. I used to try to 100% most games I played, but I don't know. I feel like I might start to get frustrated if I was doing that in a Metroidvania game, just where those games can be kind of confusing a little bit and a lot of backtracking. But yeah, I kind of just decided at some point in my life a couple years ago, just for the sake of time management, that like I don't need to 100% complete every game I play. If I get to the credits, that's good enough, unless I'm just absolutely just loving it. Which I did really enjoy that game, but there's still many other games to play. But yeah, it was really good. It also probably would have been kind of frustrating to 100% because the platforming actually gets really hard in that game. I was pretty shocked. Like some of the stuff the game asks of you, pretty tough. Similarly, what's it called? This isn't a Spanish game, but this is a Persian game, the new Prince of Persia that came out, The Lost Crown, earlier this year, back in January, I believe it was, January or February, by the same company that makes Rayman games, Ubisoft. I think it might have actually been the same development team, even, because it's got some similar elements, like these like coin things you grab. There's something similar to those. But it's a Metroidvania. Really, really great game. I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. It takes a lot of inspiration from Metroid Dread, which is by no means a bad thing. I've talked about how much I love Metroid Dread, so you know I can really get behind that. There was another game that seemed to take a lot of inspiration from Metroid Dread, which is I think it was called Tales of Kinzara Zao or something like that. That was based on African culture. And I don't know of a whole lot of games set in Africa, so that's pretty cool. So that's one I always wanted to check out. But then when the game came out, like I had every intention of picking it up, but it got some pretty middling review scores. They're just like the level design not being super great and stuff like that. And there was some controversies surrounding that game, and like I think the publisher is called like Sweet Baby Inc. or something that got some people upset. I don't really want to weigh in too heavily on that, but you know, whatever all that was about, I'm, you know, I do think you should hire somebody based on qualification and not because, you know, they meet certain, you know, parameters in terms of their, you know, identity. I don't really think that's makes for equality, but you know, at the same time, like I'm not up in arms about it. Just like what this get, you know, Sweet Baby, you know, I mean, some people feel more strongly about it. I'm like, I've got my opinions about that sort of thing, but I'm not like, that's not going to be something that causes me to like boycott the game or anything like that. I think that's kind of not a, you know, I don't know. Because I'm trying to debate what I want to say, because again, I said at the start of this that I wasn't wanting to go into deep, heavy stuff and like political stuff like I did on the last episode, but I still do kind of want to check that game out, and I think it's on PlayStation Network or whatever, PlayStation Premium, whatever the subscription I have. I think I can play it on there. I kind of wanted to get the game on Switch, but you know, it'll probably look and run better on there, and I can play it for free with an asterisk. So yeah, I will probably check it out there at some point, and if I absolutely love it, I can always buy it again for my Switch. We'll buy it for the first time, I guess, not again. But yeah, I don't know, a little concerned about it because of the stuff I had heard in the reviews. I had every intention of buying it. I think it came out in April this year. But yeah, I know Nintendo Life, I think, gave it like a 6 out of 10 or something like that, which is kind of a little concerning, you know. It looked beautiful. It looked really, in some ways I thought it looked better than Prince of Persia games. They look very similar, like very, very similar. And I think the studio behind the game ended up having to shut down, so it's kind of a shame. Like again, like, you know, whatever the Sweet Baby Inc. controversies or whatever, like, you know, it's always a shame when anybody gets laid off, and I don't know how much of that. Probably multiple factors. Some of it might have been the people who were boycotting the game, but also it did have the unfortunate circumstance of being a nearly identical looking game to Prince of Persia. The Lost Crown, I think, is the name of that game. In a lot of ways, very, very similar. Same genre. You know, set in different cultures. One is, you know, African and one is Persian, and different plots, but still aesthetically kind of go for a similar art direction, I guess. But, you know, I don't think one plagiarized off the other. They were both, you know, released around the same time, and, you know, probably each spent like years in development before they were ever announced. And the guy, I know when the game was first announced at the, I guess it would have been last year's Game Awards, the guy, I know he was just really, you know, I had a lot of respect for him, the guy who was making the game. He was talking about, like, it got me kind of teary-eyed. He was talking about his, you know, his dad, and who passed away, and like he kind of starts tearing up as he's talking. It got me a little choked up, honestly, and how it just how he dealt with the grief, and how that was such a hard time for him because his dad was such a important figure in his life, and how the game kind of talks about those themes of death and loss, because I think the character in the game specifically does lose their dad, if I'm not mistaken, and he kind of just goes on this whole soul search. I guess he goes through the stages of grief and goes through denial and bargaining. Because I think there's a thing, he like tries to appease the I guess like African gods or whatever to bring his dad back. I don't know the full story of the game beyond that, but yeah, the way he was talking about it and about losing his own dad, you know, it made me pretty kind of choked up. You know, somebody who's pretty close with my own parents, both my dad and mom, be devastated if anything, you know, happened to them. So I can only imagine. But also just talking about his love for gaming, and mentioned how he really enjoys you know, Kingdom Hearts and stuff. So I really liked him. He seemed like a pretty legitimate guy. And even if I might not agree with certain things with like Sweet Baby Inc. or like the DEI hiring or whatever, you know, which I know the intent behind it, but you know, you're trying to solve the problem of groups of people not having opportunities by taking away opportunities for other, like, I don't know, it's a tricky slope to go down, you know. But regardless of, you know, irrespective of my personal feelings about it, like, that doesn't change the fact these are like real people making these games, you know, who have lives and they got mouths to feed, you know, they got kids. So I hated to see the studio shut down, you know. But yeah, at least I guess the studio shut. Either there was a lot of layoffs, there was something, but you know, I think it's kind of a shame that happened. Because it's like Sweet Baby Inc. isn't the development studio who made the game. It was like they partnered with Sweet Baby Inc. So it's like they kind of had to suffer for who they chose to work with, which would be like if, you know, like Ubisoft has had some pretty bad allegations about things, but that would be like, you know, I don't know, if a company were to collaborate with Ubisoft, it's like that doesn't necessarily mean they condone certain things that went on or that they whatever, but so to just kind of, you know, say if Nintendo were to have gone under for making Mario and Rabbids with Ubisoft because of bad things Ubisoft did and not Nintendo, like I just don't really think that's fair. And so that's kind of how I look at the Sweet Baby situation with the team or the studio or whatever behind that Tales of Kinzara Zhao game. But yeah, I still want to check it out at some point, and you know, the guy who made it, he is really, you can tell he's really passionate about it. I think he was very proud of what he was able to make, and you know, I don't really think, I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but I don't think he deserved all of the backlash that it got, you know. And I will say, even though, like I said, generally I don't really think you should hire or not hire based on the color of people's skin, and I think, like, you know, if you're trying to be inclusive with DEI, in some ways that can be kind of exclusionary. His game is kind of one where it's kind of a gray area, where it's like I could see an exception being made because it's a game centered completely around like African culture and it's set in Africa, so it's like, you know, you want to cultivate a team of people who can help bring your vision to life, who also share in your love for African culture. And, you know, there might not be as many white people who necessarily feel that strongly about it and therefore not be able to help you deliver that same vision. So that's one game where, you know, if I was going to make an exception, it would be something like that, you know. When you're going for an authentic, like, I don't know. But either way, though, I kind of do want to check that game out at some point. I'm trying to think what other Metroidvania games. I've been playing some of the Shantae games. I've never been like the biggest Shantae fan because, yeah, I've never been the biggest Metroidvania fan. I played the original like Game Boy Color one. That's a really good game. I'm pretty surprised just by you know, I didn't grow up with like a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color. So when I go back and play those games, like on Switch Online or in the case of Shantae, you know, downloaded off the eShop, I'm pretty shocked by, you know, that little system's capable of a lot more than I would have thought. You know, a game like Shantae, it's got a lot going on. So I enjoyed that one pretty good. My first Shantae game was Half Genie Hero. I didn't really like that one too much. I beat it. I guess that might have been the first Metroidvania, but well, that one's not really that much of a Metroidvania. So I think that one does have individual levels, and you kind of have to go back and forth between them. And that one was kind of just eh. I recently beat what was the second Shantae game. I bought all of them, and I'm planning to go in chronological order through them. Shantae. For whatever reason, Metroidvanias are a very culturally diverse genre. You got Metroidvania games that are, you know, based around Hispanic culture, African culture, in the case of Shantae, Arabian culture. So, you know, might not be my favorite genre, but I can give it props for that. I like me a, you know, a culturally diverse game. If nothing else, not just for, you know, other people to feel seen or whatever. But like it'd be boring if all games looked the same, had the same thematic elements, you know, same looking characters, same looking environments, same looking buildings and setting, and you know, same cultural influence. So yeah, whenever a game brings in different cultures and stuff, I can always really appreciate it. But yeah, Shantae, second Shantae game. God, what's it called? Shantae Risky's Revenge is the name of it. So I beat that one. I haven't yet played Pirate's Curse. That's, I think, the next one. Got these. I started to say sumo wrestler. That's not the right culture. That's Japanese. God, my brain is not working today. Today and yesterday, I've had such a hard time remembering things, like luchadors. That's what I was looking for. Again, it all goes back to lucha. Yeah, I like how we got this chase level going on. It's almost like a Crash Bandicoot run from the boulder thing, except we're just running to the right and not, you know, toward the camera, because it's a 2D game. But you get the picture. He's a big chunky boy. Is he like a zombie? Are these guys zombies? I kind of think they are, maybe. I don't know how much zombies have to do with Mexican culture. Like skeletons, he gives us the thumbs up as he's dying. I think is that like a Terminator reference or something? I've never watched Terminator, to be completely honest. But I know there's a lot of like video games and stuff that have that in there where character dies, fall into the lava, and they give a thumbs up as they fall. Okay, good deal. Got enough limbs there. I wasn't sure how much we needed. But yeah. Let's go on to our next level here, see what's in store. But yeah, I already beat Half Genie Hero, so as I go through the Shantae games, I'll skip over that one. And then after that one, I believe, is Shantae and the Seven Sirens, I think's the name of it. Okay, we're on the boss here, wrestling with a giant. Let's take down Goliath here. The Goliath to our David. Oh yeah, I meant to stop by and show off the costumes in this game, because we unlocked some pretty cool ones that I do want to check out. We'll do that maybe after we beat this boss. Look at this little guy. Looks like he's got one of those SpongeBob kelp mustaches. Now that they're men, I change my underwear. Now that they're men. Yeah, the bosses are all like 3D animated for whatever reason, except for that Toad boss in the last one. I don't really think it looks that great, to be completely honest with you. I kind of wish they were just 2D also, but, you know, this is what it is. It's kind of a minor nitpick. The rest of the game just looks so pretty, and then it just feels a little awkward when you got these just random little bits of CG interspersed in there. That's kind of a complaint I have. Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show ever. Legend of Korra, I think, is really good as well. Not quite as good as Avatar, but, you know, the animation looks beautiful, all the 2D, you know, hand-painted backgrounds and everything. But all of the tech, all the machinery, like the Fire Nation ships and stuff, they're all CG, and it didn't really bother me too much in the original Avatar. But in Korra, you know, so much of that show is about, like, steampunk, you know, post-industrial revolution era. Like, there's just, like, metal machinery everywhere, so lots of CG. Sometimes you might look at a shot and like almost everything in the shot's CG, and the CG stuff I feel like moves at kind of a weird frame rate that looks different from like the rest of the animation. Like it looks a little bit more choppy. So yeah, I don't know. I don't always love when they intersperse CG with 2D. I'd kind of prefer in most cases you just kind of do one or the other, but when you mix mediums it gets a little weird. Except for something like Courage the Cowardly Dog, because I know that show has a lot of mediums. It'll have like realistic, like photo-realistic backgrounds, and then it'll have cartoon character design. Sometimes they'll play around with live action or stop motion and different stuff. But Courage is meant to be creepy, and I think there was like an interview with the guy who made it. John R. Dilworth is his name, I believe. But he kind of talks about Al. He talks about how this ain't good. Okay, we're fine. It's okay. Let's knock his eyeball out of his socket. Put those eyeballs back in your head, son. Very disturbing. I don't like looking at that. Okay, we got one more. I thought that was the last one for some reason. But, oh, let's get the little... Ow, we're dead. That's okay. It saves, you know, after every, you know, on every phase, so we don't have to worry about having to restart the whole thing again or anything, which is always really nice. Just dodge these fireballs. All of a sudden, it's a bullet heck shoot 'em up, but without the shooting 'em up. Ooh. And Rayman just about got his kahunas burned off. He about got one of those lava rectal exams, which is never fun. You never want to have one of those. Yeah, John R. Dilworth, that's what I was talking about. Again, there I go, losing my train of thought again. You know, it's been a real problem this week. I don't know what the deal is with me. Maybe in part because I've got my sleep cycle all thrown off again. I went to bed. This probably isn't very healthy. I do this crap all the time. Where I went to bed at like 8 in the morning and woke up at like 4 p.m. That's probably not healthy. But like my sleep cycle always just gets really, really off. I need to do more work on that. Go to bed at the same time, try to get up at the same time every day. But I lack discipline. But anyway, so I kind of wonder if that's part of the reason why I'm a little bit been getting so mixed up here lately the last few days, because my sleep's all off again. But anyway, it's also just kind of hard when you're doing YouTube and you got to talk for like an hour consecutively, and just you're trying to play the game and pay attention, and you know you don't want to lose focus, and you're trying to make sure your commentary is still being interesting, but you also want to make sure you're not dying on the game. And yeah. Oh, look out for the hand. Okay, well, we're dead. All right. We got it this time. We got it. All the little skeleton guys in the background back there. You'll love to see them. I wish we could get a heart. I wish we could get an extra... Ow. The wind turned off sooner than I thought it would. I wish we could get another little point of health here. You can get these hearts that float around. You like bust open these... little vials to get them out, and you can only have one, but that lets you you know, take one extra hit of damage, where instead of dying, I don't even know what happened to me that time, but instead of dying in one hit, you know, you got a little bit of a buffer there where you can take one hit and then you'll be okay to take your next hit. But yeah, I'm not getting any more. Good lord, why am I sucking so bad on this boss fight? But Courage the Cowardly Dog, what I was saying, they mix mediums for the intent of it looking creepy, because he talked about, and I'm inclined to agree with him, how if you have like different mediums, it creates more of an uncanny feeling and makes you more uncomfortable. Like one of the most popular Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes is with the one with King Ramses, like the Pharaoh, where Courage, where Eustace steals the slab from his tomb, and he says, "Return the slab." I watched that when I was like 7 years old. It traumatized me. I think I might have been like afraid to go to sleep after that. It was like a jump scare every time they showed him. So yeah, that like horrified me, but at the same time, like it made it stand out in my memory, and so I really loved that episode. Another good one, although this one doesn't necessarily mix mediums. But the reason for bringing up that one though, that was for being so scary, is Ramses is. He's like a creepy, like a zombie, basically. I think I keep dying because I try to get those lungs there. I might just have to let him go. Just forget the lungs. I gotta quit being selfish. I gotta learn to share the wealth. Bernie Sanders would be very disappointed in me. We need affordable health care for all Americans. They need to have opportunities equally. Woo! But, I don't necessarily agree. Here I go again, getting back on politics. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of Bernie Sanders' views, but I can respect him as a person because I feel like he's genuine and he's been pretty consistent throughout the years. So, you know, I think his heart's in the right place. I don't know. Look at all these flowers. Look at all these individually painted little flowers here. I kind of want to move my camera out of the way so you can get a better see. We got some lava, little cinders coming out. Look at all these little pieces of confetti, and you got all these little flowers down here. It's like individually, meticulously painted. It looks so good. I love it so much. Okay, let's put this back. Put it back in the corner. There you go. I'm in timeout. Put a little dunce hat on me. Back in the corner I go. Yeah, Ramsey's hat was like CG in that Courage, while everything else was like a flat 2D, hand-drawn thing. So it really made him stand out, like he wasn't supposed to be there. Like he didn't really fit in, and that's part of what added to the creepiness. So on stuff like that, I can appreciate mixing mediums. When it's to create an uncanny effect, but otherwise it's not my favorite thing. But the best Courage episode, my personal favorite, is the one with the barber that shaves people, Freaky Fred, who says "naughty," and everything he says he talks in rhyme, and it's just like, oh, it's so creepy. You're such a creep. And it's obvious like that it's a kid's show, but it's like almost like a metaphor for something darker, like murder or torture or whatever. We're just talking about like as a kid, just how he became obsessed with like shaving people, and just like it started with animals. He'd shave his hamster, and then he started shaving people, and it's like but it's so unsettling. He talks in rhyme, just like, and he speaks so eloquently, and it's just like, hello friends, my name is Fred. The voices you hear are in my head. And I've been quite naughty. I love that episode. Someone made there's some people who made like a reanimated version of that on YouTube. Those videos where like a whole bunch of different animators like contribute to it. Like each person contributes a few seconds. Those are always really cool. But let's back out for a little bit. Let's go to our costumes, because we've got some unlocked that I do really want to show off. There's one in particular that I really want to show everybody. Heroes. Here we go. For a second there I was like, wait a minute, how do we get here? There it is. Yeah, so this is only in the Nintendo versions of the game, but we have Ray Plumber. He's Rayman, and then I've not been using the character Globlox, I guess is how you pronounce his name, which is this blue frog-looking guy. But there's a variation of him where there's him in a Luigi costume. He's got the green hat with the L on it. It's Luigi. Oh yeah, let's go, Mario. Maybe later I'll use this character, Globlox some, or one of the teensies. But for right now, we'll do the Mario one. My favorite thing about this is the Mario 64 reference. So Rayman, he jumps and you can hold the B button, and he floats. He'll descend slowly. If you're in air current, he'll float up. And to do so, his hair or ears or whatever that's supposed to be, I guess it's his blonde hair. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's ears. But he kind of spins them around like a helicopter, and that's what lets him float. But instead, if you got the Mario hat on, he sprouts little wings out of his hat like Mario 64. I love that so much. Mario 64, we played it on the channel. Go check out that playthrough if you haven't already. One of my favorite games. It's like my second favorite game of all time after Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. But yeah, so we'll use it for a little while. He's got the Mario boots on. Don't care. Look at him in his wee little boots. He's got the gloves, which I think Rayman always has gloves. Yeah, we beat the boss. This is the wrong world. I need to get out of here. This is World 2. We did unlock a time trial level, so let's do this while we're in here. But we beat the boss in the Fiesta de los Muertos. So now we can do the music level, which I believe is called Mariachi Madness, if I'm remembering correctly. And you're not prepared for this. If you've not played this game before, you were probably not anticipating this, but it's a level, it's another one of the auto runner levels where you're kind of rhythm based, you're doing everything in time to the music, but it's a no vocals, Spanish acoustic guitar version, like a cover of Eye of the Tiger. Like, what a weird combination. I don't know how or why they came up with that, but it works so well. Spanish Eye of the Tiger. Get ready. You're not prepared for it. It's so good. It's definitely my favorite music level in the game. It looks beautiful. It's got more of those, like all those individual little flowers like we saw after we beat the boss. But yeah, it's a really cool level. Hopefully we won't get copyright striked for it or anything. Let's see, is there any more before we leave this area? Any more time trial levels we need to do here? There might have been one in the first world. We could do that real quick too. Because we are going for 100%. They kind of open up later on. Yeah, it looks like there is 2 of them for us to do. So let's do these real quick. The time trial levels aren't my favorite. I'm not the biggest fan of like time attack, score attack things, and so you have to get, you know, to get under 60 seconds you still win, but you want to get under 40 seconds to get the gold trophy. So if we're going for 100%, we need to do that. And yeah, some of them you just have to kind of replay a lot. Sometimes it can get a little tedious. But yeah, I'm not a big high score chaser for the most part. Although I did say that I loved the online like leaderboards in this game with like the daily challenges. Maybe I'll show off those at some point. I don't know. But those are fun. Those get a pass from me. But once again, these quote-unquote invaded levels where you play a time trial. Oh shoot, that ain't okay. Let's start over. You play through a time trial where it's kind of like a redux, like it remixes elements from a level you've beaten before, but it also adds enemies and platforms and stuff from other worlds. So here we've got all of these, you know, Day of the Dead enemies here back in the first world of the game. So it's really cool when you just kind of get to see those elements mashed up together. Like we're in that medieval castle from the, you know, toward the start of the game, but now there's that big watermelon there and stuff. So yeah, this one's actually the first level of the game, but it's always fun, and we're running, you know, from right to left instead of left to right. So it's kind of neat. Now we're shit, why did he spin extra fast? We were almost to the end. That's why I hate these. Now we got to start it all over. At least they're short though, so it's not like, you know, you're having to redo like a ton, but it really sucks when you kind of just want to be done with it. That's just me. I mean, I don't have to play it's a good problem to have, I think, because again, this game has a lot of content. Maybe not every level is my favorite. Maybe there's some things that I just feel like aren't for me. It's not that they're bad, you know, it's just I'm not the biggest fan of this type of gameplay, but I wouldn't have to do it. This game's got so much content. I could skip all the parts of this game that I don't like, and like this would still be a very fulfilling game with a meaty amount of content, even, you know, ignoring the parts that maybe aren't your favorites. But we did it. We got through with just a little bit of time to spare. If you don't get to it in time, then those teensies we're trying to rescue will get shot off in a firework one at a time, which is very morbid if you think about it. What a way to go. No, we don't want to restart. Let's exit the level. Teensy's in trouble. But yeah, let's go into the other one here, and we'll do it, and then we will do the Mexican mariachi Eye of the Tiger. I don't even know if you'd call it. It really doesn't sound like mariachi music because I don't even know if it has trumpets. It's mainly just the acoustic guitar, so I don't know if that qualifies. I don't know what specifically would be considered mariachi, but I always associate it with like you gotta have trumpets, you know. That seems to be like the biggest thing, but like I don't know. If you're Mexican, let me know. Can it be mariachi if there's no trumpets? I feel like it's always like a trio or a quartet of dudes, you know. I don't know if they're a mariachi, if it has to be a certain number of people. Maybe mariachi means nothing. Maybe it's literally just the Spanish word for band, and I'm overthinking it. I don't know. Is a mariachi its own specific kind of band, or is it just can any old band be a mariachi? We were not doing good on the time there. Let's try that one again here. See what went wrong. Maybe it's because I'm too busy talking about mariachis. I might have took a wrong path. I went up high somewhere where I was probably supposed to just like stay low. Maybe could have been the problem. I don't know. I feel like this might actually be a little bit slower. I'm not sure. Pound the ground. I do like the music that plays during these though. Got the whistling going on. Oh, that ain't very good. Let's do a big old bounce. Yeah, that's what we want. We need some big boy bounces. Shoot. I was trying to kind of, you can kind of, like while you're running, do like a spin and a jump. That might be what we need to do. If you do, I think, like more spins and jumps, that kind of goes faster than just running. If you do like the run, spin, jump combo, just keep run, spin, jumping. But it also makes your movement a little bit more reckless and you're more likely to die, so it's kind of a risk versus reward thing. The controls in this game feel great, by the way. That's another thing I really like about this game that I've honestly never thought too much about, but I think that's a pretty good sign, I guess. If you've never really thought about a game's controls, that probably means they're pretty good, you know, because it means I'm not diverting my attention away from the game to consciously think about the controls, like I'm completely immersed in them. But yeah, the game feels great to control. I have no complaints there. It's a little weird that you don't run like holding the Y button. It's kind of what I'm used to in most platformers. But in this one, you hold the like the L or R, the trigger buttons. But I guess that makes sense because Rayman has like kind of a he has an attack. Whereas like if you're playing a 2D Mario game, you know, you can tap the run button to throw fireballs, but I don't know, I could see in a game like this where he does his little spin attack, if that was the same button as running, that might be a little bit problematic and cause you to do some inputs that you're not necessarily trying to do when you're just trying to run, but you don't want to spin, or vice versa. Let's do this other time trial level as well. Again, these aren't my favorite levels, but I want to get this one out of the way and then save the best for last and end on the mariachi level, which might be my favorite level in the whole game. And this one seems like this one's kind of annoying. This might be one of my least favorite levels in the game. This time trial seems like this one's kind of a tricky one. But here we've got the Toad enemies from the second world of the game who have infiltrated the mariachi here. Don't you hate it when you're just trying to just have a fiesta of the dead, just celebrate all the people who have come and gone, and then just frogs. I know I sure do. Well, that one wasn't bad. I thought I remember that one being a lot more annoying, but we beat that one pretty easy. Some of the time trials are pretty hard. Some of them later on, I think, do a Mario Galaxy thing, like Mario Galaxy 2 specifically, where you're being shaped, like all of your movements are being copied by like a dark, shadowy version of yourself, like the Cosmic Mario in Galaxy 2, so you have to be careful about stopping or like retreading the path you already went, because, you know, you might get hit by that clone that's mimicking all of your movements and everything. Yeah, I think that's is that the only one? So I thought this little roll move we can do. We can do like if we run, spin, hold down, and then press the attack button, we can do a little cartwheeling attack, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of useless. There's no reason to do this, but it's a thing in the game. Kind of like Mario 64. You crouch and press the attack button, and Mario does a weird little like break dance that's like not useful or necessary. Yeah, maybe that's the mark of a good game. I feel like a lot of my favorite games have these weird, unnecessary moves. Anyway, I'm going to shut up because listen. There it is, Eye of the Tiger. On an acoustic guitar. I think I like this better than the actual song. Look at those flowers. Petals blowing. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Got some castanets going on. Look at that. Look how beautiful the color palette is with the pinks and the yellow, the purples and the oranges. Like, this is so beautiful. There's that acoustic guitar. Technically there's trumpets in the level, but not in the music so much. Maybe there is as it goes on. There is one part where there's a kazoo, weirdly. I don't know why they put a kazoo, but, you know. Yeah, I think you can hear it there. I can't really hear to it. But the cactus is the way the lighting's done on it. Like all the color gradients. Look how the sky's getting dark. That's a good level over way too soon. I love that. That's one of my favorite levels in the game. I really, really enjoy that one. But yeah, we did it. That's this world in the books. Pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, let me know down in the comments some of your favorite Mexican pieces of media, or other Spanish, Latin, Hispanic countries that's not necessarily Spanish, or if you're Spanish yourself. Give me some recommendations of some cool games or movies or shows that I should check out that represent your culture, and I will definitely consider it. If it's a movie or a show, particularly if it's animation, because I really love animation. I'm so passionate about cartoons, and I just think, the animation industry is just, I want to get into it someday, make my own cartoons. But yeah, let me know. Let me know. And as we play games that involve other cultures, I'll ask people of those cultures what to recommend me. But yeah, next time we'll be playing 2,000 Lambs Under the Sea. I don't know, that just sounded like something that would be said by the SpongeBob narrator. But yeah, thank you guys so very much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.